everyone. My name is Sébastien Mabillard. I'm the Executive Director of the Swiss Digital Health Association, one of the co-organizers of this Digital Health Connect. As part of our conference dedicated to the data, we wanted to cover the topics of storage, hostings, and management of the medical data. We are therefore delighted to welcome a representative from Amazon Web Services who plays a key role in the management of this data. To explain the approach and challenges related to this data and his company, I'm pleased to welcome Mr. Andrew Jones, Head of Clinical Innovation at Amazon Web Services. Mr. Jones is a medical doctor and a senior clinical leader working within the UK National Health Service. He's an expert in knowledge-based systems and evangelizes the use of cloud-based technologies to healthcare providers, health systems, and national governments. Good morning. Hello, Mr. Jones.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for accepting to make an intervention in the form of this web interview. Maybe to begin, everyone knows Amazon, which is quite well known for its online shops and home delivery. But what is Amazon Web Services' relationships to Amazon?
Yeah, after more than a decade of building and running a highly scalable web application in Amazon.com, the company realized it had developed a core competency in operating technology infrastructure and data centers on a massive scale. And we embarked on a much broader mission of serving a new customer segment, by which I mean developers and businesses, with web services they can use to build sophisticated and scalable applications. AWS is a separate business within Amazon, which has a different customer base, different services, and a different leadership team. Amazon continues to use the same AWS cloud services to run its various businesses as millions of other customers around the world.
But with its web services and its certification as a health data hosting provider, what does Amazon Web Services intend to bring to the healthcare sector?
Yeah, AWS has achieved a number of internationally recognized certifications and accreditations, demonstrating compliance with third-party assurance frameworks such as ISO 27001 for technical measures, 27017 for cloud security, 27018 for cloud privacy, SOC 1, SOC 2, SOC 3, and EU specific certifications such as the BSI's Common Cloud Computing Controls Catalog, the C5. We also have ISO 9001, which is primarily for healthcare, life sciences, medical devices, as well as automotive and aerospace. And AWS services comply with the GDPR, so the General Data Protection Regulation. And that means, in addition to benefiting from all the measures AWS already takes to maintain the security of our services, customers can deploy AWS services as a key part of their GDPR compliance plans. All generally available services and features adhere to the high privacy bar and data protection standards required of data processes by the GDPR. And AWS has more services and more features within those services than any other cloud provider, and by quite a large amount. AWS has been continually expanding its services to support virtually any cloud workload, and it now has more than 175 fully featured services, including compute and storage and databases and networking, analytics, robotics, machine learning and AI, Internet of Things, mobile, security, hybrid, virtual and augmented reality, media, and application development, deployment and management. And in addition to having the greatest breadth of services, AWS also has the deepest functionality within those services. And amongst them are also services specifically useful for our customers in the healthcare industry. For example, Comprehend Medical and Transcribe Medical, our clinically focused natural language processing and speech services. And in the fullness of time, we believe that virtually every application will be infused with ML and AI. Most of the customers we work with, including those in healthcare, are very interested in ML. Tens of thousands of customers are running machine learning on AWS, spurred on by the broad adoption of of Amazon SageMaker. It's a pretty broad set of customers, including companies like Liberty Mutual Insurance, Slack, Pinterest, the American Heart Association, and others. And while an incredible amount of progress is being made by organizations using AI and ML, we're still relatively at the beginning. But we have about twice as much ML being run on AWS as you'll find anywhere else, and yet it's really early for most organizations. And we think about machine learning in three layers of the stack, and we believe in the fullness of time, most organizations that have a significant technology capability will use all three of these.
Okay, but when we talk about customers, for whom are your services and technology designed? What is it used for?
Yeah, I mean, customers across virtually every industry and of every size, including startups and enterprises and public sector organizations are running every imaginable use case on AWS. And every AWS customer has the opportunity to benefit from all of that, the collaboration and feedback AWS gets from its customers. And when you look at AWS's partner network, it's not just thousands of systems of integrators who've built their practices around AWS, but no, most independent software vendors and SaaS providers will adopt the technology to one technology infrastructure platform. And some will do two, but very few will have time to do three. And they all start with AWS because of our significant leadership position. And it's why you see a much more vibrant collection of ISVs and SaaS providers on AWS as you're moving to the cloud and want those capabilities. And a big area for us is our partner network. And the AWS partner network has tens of thousands of APM partners from all across the globe. And we've added 35,000 new APM partners since January 2016. And amongst them are clinical software developers, consultancies, and systems integrators. And so many of the clinical innovations that rely on AWS for their success come from this partner network.
Okay. Over the last 2 years, especially in the US, we have seen several hospital groups decide to outsource the storage of their medical data in the cloud and use the services of external hosting providers such as AWS. In your opinion, why do hospitals make that decision?
Sure, yeah. I mean, I think there's three main reasons. And the first is security. Security is so important in healthcare to protect patient-sensitive information. And it's a real challenge for in-house IT teams to keep up to date with emerging threats and ensure that health systems are adequately protected. I mean, AWS can help customers ensure that their services are secure and contribute to compliance with GDPR. And security will always be our top priority. AWS has been architected to be the most flexible, secure cloud computing environment available today. And our core infrastructure is built to satisfy the security requirements for the military, global banks, other high sensitivity organizations. And AWS uses the same secure hardware and software to build and operate each of our regions. So all of our customers benefit from the only commercial cloud that has had all of its service offerings and supply chain vetted and accepted as secure enough for top security workloads. And this is backed up by a deep set of cloud security tools with more than 200 security, compliance, and governance services and key features. And I think the second reason is cost. If you look at how people end up moving to the cloud, almost always the conversation starter is cost. AWS allows customers to trade capital expense for variable expense, and then only pay for IT as they consume it. And the variable expense is much lower than what customers can do for themselves because of the economies of scale. So, for example, Dow Jones has estimated that migrating its data centers to AWS will contribute to global savings of around $100 million in infrastructure costs. And finally, I think it's so that, it's really that so they can innovate quickly. The cloud allows customers to innovate faster because they can focus their highly valuable IT resources on developing applications that differentiate their business and transform their customer and patient experiences instead of the undifferentiated heavy lifting, as we put it, of managing infrastructure and data centers.
Okay, I understand these three reasons, but what makes your services more relevant than local data centers, for example?
Yeah, I mean, the first is agility. AWS lets customers spin up resources as they need them, so they can deploy hundreds or even thousands of servers in minutes. And this means that customers can quickly develop and roll out new applications. It means that teams can experiment and innovate more quickly and more frequently. And if an experiment fails, you can deprovision those resources without any risk. The other reason is elasticity. So customers used to over provision to ensure they had enough capacity to handle their operations at the very peak of activity. And now they can provision the amount of resources they actually need, knowing they can instantly scale up or down with the needs of their business, which also reduces cost and improves the customer's ability to meet their users' demands. And again, finally, it's the cloud simply allows customers to innovate faster.
Okay. But in Europe, for example, I get the impression that there is a lot more aversion to outsourcing this health data to external hosting providers. How do you see the European approach and sensitivity in this practice? Do you still see similarities with the US?
Yes, we have millions of active customers every month and tens of thousands of partners around the globe, including organizations such as NHS Digital, Philips, Cerner, the Munich Leukemia Lab in Germany. Many of them are located in Europe. For example, there's more than 10,000 active AWS customers in Switzerland alone. As an example, in Switzerland, Medical Informatics, a small team, developed a platform to help to find volunteers during the COVID-19 crisis. And the platform, which students built in about 4 days with the support of AWS, enables healthcare providers to proactively request support and be managed with a corresponding volunteer. And medical informatics works by matching a pre-existing network of healthcare institutions like hospitals and hospices and care homes with a database of more than 1,300 volunteers. And also, because our services are already GDPR ready, it's increasingly attractive to European customers. So we're increasingly seeing cloud adoption in Europe.
Okay, but how do you work, for example, with both NHS Trust or private sector healthcare organization in UK? And more practically, how do they use AWS services?
Yeah, of course. I mean, as a few examples, University Hospital of North Midlands and Redmore Health used AWS to provide a conversational chatbot and to help patients seeking breast cancer screening. Now, they had started using Facebook to encourage at-risk patients to attend breast cancer screening, and this improved uptake by 13%, so really successful. But people on social media frequently expect answers to their questions 24/7, which takes up a lot of time for clinical staff working on the unit. And often the questions were quite straightforward, like, when do I get my results, or am I eligible for screening? So Redmore used Amazon Lex, the cloud-based version of Alexa on AWS, to answer their questions in natural language through voice and through text. Another example is NHS Digital working with another one of our partners, Privitar. So they deployed Privitar Publishing, and that's a software solution that provides data privacy engineering techniques to create de-identified data that can be used for analytics on AWS. So NHS Digital uses this solution to support a new de-identification process known as DID. And that protects patient privacy by de-identifying patient records consistently. Another example, the NHS Business Services Authority, the BSA, they worked with Arcus Global to provide Amazon Connect. Now, Amazon Connect is a cloud-based AI-enabled call center solution. And the BSA have a number of call centres to manage inquiries from citizens. And one of those is for the European Health Insurance Card. And Arcus Global was able to establish a call center for the BSA in the cloud, and it was able to redirect 42% of calls away from call center staff by answering callers' questions automatically. And finally, Babylon Health has been providing some transformational services to healthcare, including the use of video consultation and AI-based triage and diagnostic tools. And as well as providing the compute for their AI services, we've also helped them expand across the world, including Canada, the US, and countries in Asia Pacific.
Fine, impressive. But maybe another example, in response to the evolving COVID-19 situation, How does the technology truly support our healthcare systems, and how Amazon Web Services contributes?
Yeah, we've been involved in hundreds of projects to support the COVID-19 response. A few examples including AWS developed a Cord-19 search, which is a machine learning enabled search capability for the COVID-19 research data set, and it helps researchers quickly and easily search tens of thousands of research papers and documents using natural language questions. And in conjunction with Amazon Logistics, we also developed a system which allowed citizens in the UK to request a COVID-19 test kit to establish if they were infected, which was then delivered by Amazon to people in their homes. We've also seen a significant rise in the adoption of tele and video consultation with our 4 APM partners who provide these services. And we've helped international public health bodies identify misleading health information on the internet, so-called fake news, to help them combat the spread of misinformation on COVID-19. And the acceleration and adoption of these technologies has been significant during the crisis, and points to how quickly digital transformation and the move to cloud can happen.
Okay, time is running. So finally, maybe let's go back to the topic of our conference, the data. In your opinion, what are the challenges and issues of the healthcare sector regarding this medical data? What role will cloud play in future development efforts?
Yeah, it will be the ability to share data in a way that is secure and respects data privacy. This will enable clinicians to have access to the most recent data about their patients and make more informed decisions about their care. It also allows for the more widespread use of data analytics and machine learning to gain better insights into the health of populations and their health needs and improve the patient experience. And increasingly, patients want to access their own medical records and to have the opportunity to self-service for simple tasks like appointment booking and ordering prescription. Cloud helps with this digital transformation by making it easier for healthcare organizations to secure their systems and data, as well as comply with data privacy laws, including GDPR, using GDPR-ready services. And once in the cloud, it's simply faster and cheaper to innovate using mobility, machine learning, and AI services to create new digital experiences for healthcare staff and patients. And it also enables deeper insights to be gleaned from that data to help inform healthcare investment, service design, and understand the healthcare needs of the population.
Very interesting. So this is the end of this interview. Mr. Jones, thank you so much for being with us and sharing your insights and views of medical data at Amazon Web Services. I wish you success in your future operations. We are curious to see the future of the cloud in the healthcare sector over the next few years. So thank you so much, Mr. Jones, and have a good day.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.